Thank you, Mr. President and my colleagues. I want to use this opportunity to welcome Senator Leo Imoke, our in-law, and the family of Dr. Joseph Wires. I think the closest person in this room that know Dr. Joseph Wires is me, apart from the family. And the family knows why. Because where I live in Adeleke Adedoyi, in Victoria Island, my house is in between Dr. Abi's house, and the next was Dr. Joseph Wires. So every evening, I used to sit with this humble and well-cherished man, a man that was humble from his mother's womb, and a man that can give all he has to anybody. I met this man in 1992 when he started staying in Adeleke Adedoyi. And one evening, one of former Nigerian president, who was still a president, came in to my house, and Dr. Joseph Wires came. And he said, "Are you the one living here?" I said, "Yes, sir." Because then he was living in front, and Dr. Mike Adenuga was living opposite him in the same Adeleke Adedoyi, and David Mark, actually. So we started being friends. Every morning he said, "Young man, please sit down, let us eat." I go to his house to eat breakfast. I go to his house to eat dinner on Saturdays. A man that will be reflected to be a Nigerian per excellence. A man that served this nation with all humility. A man that gives everything he has or he was having to anybody that he likes. I want to condole the family because these things happen. I usually don't celebrate the death because once people die, my own father, when he died, we buried him the same day. We don't even talk about going to celebrate anybody because death comes and it goes. But it has happened. He was a statesman. For a man to die and be brought to these hallowed chambers means that he has served his constituency and the nation. Mr. President, this is a man that if we start talking about, we cannot finish it tomorrow morning. This is a man that likes to welcome people. This is a man that likes to give whatever that is his pocket and his house to anybody. A man that cherishes good life. I'm sure some of his children who were there in Adeleke Adedoyi must know what I'm saying. But they must have very small also. I was very young when I met Dr. Wires. Dr. Wires is a friend, or he was a friend to all Nigerians. He was a friend to the MPN because I used to remember him when they used to come to Aba. I was very small during Shagari. When they come on campaign, all my family were MPN. And I know that is the most loved by the president because President Shagari was very often, very eager to speak to him whenever they sleep in Aba for 2-3 days for campaign. He was a man that loves Cross Riverians, and he gave his life for them. According to the stories he told me, that he worked for the state, he worked for Akwa Ibom, he worked for everybody, and he worked for the South, and he worked for the Southern Nigeria. He speaks Igbo so fluently. He was speaking Igbo so fluently with me that I cannot even think that a man is not from Onitsha, unless when he says, "Oh, Imakwanambo Cross River," that we know is from Cross River. So I want to urge my colleagues to join us in celebrating this man. This should not be mourning. There's nothing like mourning because very accomplished man. He accomplished to what life should be. He's celebrating this man while he's on the ground, on the grave, that God will give his family the mind to bear the loss of his life. Mr. President, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I feel, although it's supposed, when anybody who dies is the will of God, I feel like crying, but I can't because we will not cry for the death. It's gone and it's gone. God will take his mind through Christ our Lord.